1 second. Pull it a little bigger. All right, we have Rings Flying Always Home Cam launching soon. Then we'll have DEFCON 1 Technocracy is being launched right now by the Trump administration. Zuckerberg focused on building mega gigawatt size data centers. It's here, the externalization of the agentic state. And lastly, if we have time, grappling with existential panic over AI. How are you doing, Patrick?
Doing really good. This is a crazy story about Ring.
Yeah, you'll be doing better once you have one of their robots flying around your house, right?
I think that's the point, right?
Yeah.
People have criticized Ring in the past. For instance, a lot of people have this Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
That takes pictures of anybody and audio as well of people that ring the doorbell. You can see who it is. You can talk to them, like, go away or whatever, right? But there was a criticism on the Ring doorbell that the microphone was so sensitive that it could pick up conversations on the street of people walking by. Just consider that for just a second.
Yeah.
You're just chatting with somebody, walking a dog or whatever, right? And you can walk by the Ring doorbells, and your conversation can be recorded.
Yeah, and it will clip it because every time it senses motion near it, it then creates a clip of that. So then when you're walking by every house in the neighborhood, pretty much with the Ring doorbell, there's little clips of you being made as you walk throughout the neighborhood.
That's right, and of course that's all recorded. The police can get at their hands on it if they wanted to, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't be charged with a crime necessarily, but they can probably figure something out. You spit on the sidewalk or whatever.
Yeah. Wow.
But this new thing, always home cam, this takes it for another trip here. Yeah. Look at this video.
But where do we go from here? Introducing Ring Always Home Cam. Yeah, it's a camera that flies.
What?
We thought, what if we made a camera that can see every angle in your home without having a camera in every room, and make it smart enough so that you can teach it where to go.
Like this?
Yep, just like that.
Cool.
So with the push of a button, it wakes up and goes here, there, or wherever you choose.
You forgot the orange slices, didn't you?
Well, I think that gives you the idea of what it is. I was telling you before we started that Dolly would love this. Dolly definitely wouldn't be scared of that thing if we were gone and flying that around the house.
Oh, I know. That would just freak her out. Freak her out. She wouldn't have any concept of a camera, or you're looking at her at that point for sure, but it would really freak her out.
Yeah. Yeah. And this just shows you kind of how, these companies are getting more and more, advanced with the different things we'll have in our house, and people, not just robots, will have things flying around.
Exactly. Why do you think that Amazon is the owner of Ring in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. They bought the company several years ago. Why do you think that Amazon would want to know all of the inventory of stuff in your house?
Yeah.
Why would you suppose that they would like to market something to you, perhaps?
Yeah, exactly. They're like, "Oh, you don't have a new TV," so then an ad for a new TV pops up.
Oh yes, and what about all the sensitive documents that you might have lying around, like your tax returns or other stuff that you don't want anybody to see? It can take images of that just fine. Yeah. 4K, I'm sure. And how about if you have teenagers who are in the house and all of a sudden you decide to spy on them, and they're doing something that maybe they shouldn't be doing, or maybe something the parents shouldn't be doing, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's caught on camera. How do you think that's going to play out?
Yeah, and are they able? Is Ring, obviously Amazon, obviously is able to get to these videos if they wanted to.
Oh,
And it's
yes,
not
they
just
are.
the flying camera. They have indoor cameras already that you can buy. They have little security cameras
They
you can buy and put them
they
all
do.
around your house.
They do, and this is designed to replace all those cameras.
Yeah, because you don't need them all
What's
over the place. You just need one that can fly everywhere.
exactly? And so if you have an actual intruder, somebody breaks in your house, that's really uncommon these days. But nevertheless, somebody breaks in, and the camera activates, turn on a light, and it flies towards the intruder and takes this picture. And
And then it
well,
gets shot down.
the best use case, whatever. But other than that, this thing is so intrusive. It's inconceivable that anybody would want to buy one.
Yeah.
But the critics are saying at this point, this is a total invasion of privacy, and legitimate critics, not just people like me necessarily, and we're going to take shots at it. We won't even own one, but the mainstream of young people, especially, they'll eat this up.
Yep.
I can think of some people that I know already who will be the first in line to get one of these cameras.
And then I'm sure this isn't the end of it. I'm sure they're going to create an outdoor one that will fly around the outside of your house.
I know this one is limited just to fly in your house. If you open a door or a sliding door, it won't go outside. That's one thing. But you can see, at some point that'll be the norm, and you can spy on your neighbor's goods as well. That point, looking over the wall, right?
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to move on to this next?
Oh,
yeah. All right, we have DEFCON 1 Technocracy being launched right now by the Trump administration. Is this about the Genius Act and digital currencies?
It is, exactly, and this is a moving video. I recommend everybody listen to it start to finish, and you'll be amazed, I think. But what's going on here with the so-called crypto week that was last week, and so you have the Genius Act especially, but you have other acts behind it, like the Stable Act and what the other one was. Shoot, I can't get it right now. But nevertheless, there's one behind it. They form a superstructure between the three bills to create a new regulatory structure, if you will, for finance, especially for crypto. And this paves the way now for the Fed to potentially be removed from the equation. You remember when Trump signed an executive order in January, and he said that he's going to forbid the Fed from issuing central bank digital currencies?
Yeah.
That was almost his first executive order. I thought, well, maybe that's a shot across the bow that the Fed is going to get it in the shorts at some point. And then I thought, well, maybe not. Maybe the idea is to privatize all the monetary construction is like they've done it now, and maybe hand it back to the Fed. But all of a sudden, in the news today, it's not reflected in this article, but there's a great story that came out today that the Secretary of Treasury now is taking direct shots at the Fed to discuss its legitimacy and potentially to remove its charter. Whoa. Yeah, you have to consider how big is this thing at this point. Could this group of technocrats in Washington, D.C. be so powerful and so pervasive and so strong that they can take on the central bank system of the world?
Yeah.
Think about it just for a minute.
So Trump says, I'm not going to allow the Fed to create a CBDC, but then basically the private companies come in, or him and some people in his administration come in and they basically create their own digital currency.
And this is exactly what they've done. This is exactly what they've done with the big beautiful bill, and then the Genius Act behind that. Another 2 other executive orders, but all of these legislative things and the executive orders, they combine into one plot, if you will, to restructure the financial system in America. And so the idea is, this is what the complaint was. There's all these agencies that had their fingers somewhere in finances in America, and it's a rat's nest for sure. So this is going to wipe all that away, and we're going to have a new structure for finance, and it's going to all be based on crypto. And when you understand what crypto can do for the financial system, it can be regulated totally. Everything you do will be recorded. Everything that they don't want you to do will be prevented. And that means that your money will be programmable. Just think about that for just a second. If you go to spend something for money for something that they don't want you to spend it on, you just get a blank. You won't be able to pay.
Yeah. And then if if another administration or someone else gets in charge who wants to take away your Second Amendment rights or limit your different rights for anything, really, they could stop you from buying anything they wanted you to
exactly.
Stop you. I mean, if you went to go buy ammo and they didn't like that, then it just wouldn't work.
That's exactly right. Yep. Let's cover this a little bit more after the break.
Yep. We'll be right back here in just a moment.
Better science leads to better outcomes. So by understanding the science in much more intimate detail, delivering a value product that is so different from anybody else.
So when we're stepping outside into seasonal changes, low humidity, sunlight, pollution, all of these things get communicated as stress on the top layer of skin that produces free radicals, and they're bad news for collagen networks. They're going to break down the collagen network and collapse that beautiful tensile strength of your skin. And so that's how we end up with fine lines and wrinkles. Bella Grace is really an elevated formula.
Better than the competition for very obvious reasons. First of all, we're delivering great collagen. We're delivering Verisol, which is the world's most studied form of collagen. So we're starting at a foundation that's really top notch.
So here is a lady today. She's taken the elixir, arthritis in her hands. She could not close her hands and make a fist, but after now being on the elixir, now she can.
The real breakthrough discovery, particularly with the cat's claw, it's a switch that regulates genes. There's thousands of genes that are involved in that inflammation process. When you have chronic inflammation, the problem is the switch is on and it's not being turned off. And so what's happening with the cat's claw is that it removes that little protein switch off your DNA, and the genes go back to a dormant state, and you go back to being, well, really healthy.
When at first we wanted to just have an amazing collagen ingestible product to be able to set the skin up so that my wife, Christina, could come behind that with incredible skincare. And that's exactly what we're still doing. What we weren't anticipating was the magnitude and just the vast amount of benefits that this elixir was going to do for people. Testimonies started flooding back in. About probably 30% of the testimonies were about hair, skin, and nails. The others were about people being able to walk up their stairs again, people being able to open their hands in the morning without having to do heat therapy, people being able to sleep better, athletes before and after recovery, and the energy levels that people were having. So we realized that this is so much more than just a collagen ingestible product, which it certainly is that at the highest of levels. We've even had so many people in the health and wellness world say this is legitimately, Brian, the number one, the best health and wellness product that's ever been introduced. And I would say probably the only negative here with Bella Grace and this elixir is that it sounds too good to be true, but it really is true.
Bella Grace Elixir,
A scientific breakthrough with over 80 clinical trials. Visit melissahousebg.com to discover Bella Grace Elixir and the full range of Bella Grace products.
Welcome back from the break. We left off talking about this article right here, DEFCON 1 Technocracy being launched right now by the Trump administration. This is about a series of acts that have been in place basically to sideline the Fed and introduce a digital currency, not, a privatized digital currency, correct?
That's exactly right. And at this point, I have to say that President Trump is defining his legacy as we speak as the technocrat president. In other words, I think people in the end I will be calling him Trump the technocrat when it's all done. And if you consider what he's done so far, it all adds up. He was the guy that chose J.D. Vance to be on the ticket. So, he was a creation of Peter Thiel in the first place. He appointed all these technocrats in the first place who were swarming all over Washington, D.C., including Elon Musk. He signed the enabling executive orders that the legislation, like the big beautiful bill and the Genius Act, he signed all that stuff. And he's driving the adoption of cryptocurrencies, even as we speak, to replace central bank digital currencies. And then you have to consider also that the HHS head, Kennedy, has called for everybody to have a wearable medical device within 4 years, collecting all this information on everybody in sight. It's just stunning.
What would you say to someone who would say, this is great, we don't want the Fed, and the Fed should have never been introduced in the first place, but this is not the way to go about it, correct?
Well, exactly. You can criticize the Fed all you want, and it should be criticized. I'm not saying that. It should never been started in the first place. But this is an order of magnitude beyond anything the Fed could ever do to us. And at this point, the ability to monetize or weaponize money by allowing the institutions that handle the money to have a handle on where you spend your money. This is worse than anything in China at this point with their social credit scoring system.
Basically, he's saying, I'm not going to let the Fed do this to you, but I will.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. Crazy.
Well,
just crazy.
We can move on to the next story here if you want.
Oh, yeah.
We have Zuckerberg focused. One second here. Zuckerberg focused on building mega gigawatt size data centers. Zuckerberg's kind of late to the game, right? But he's pushing hard to get into the fight.
Yes, he is, and it's understandable, I suppose. He was late to the party. He got behind, and all these other companies like OpenAI and Anthropic and Google even, they've eclipsed him with AI progress for sure. But now we know he wants to create ASI, that's artificial super intelligence. He wants to be the guy that basically takes all the prize. And he might do it because he's signed up a team of people now, top names in the AI industry, giving them bonuses up to $100 million just like a signing bonus, to come work for him to create ASI. But now, on the other hand, he wants to build these new humongous data centers, the likes of which you've never seen anywhere in the world. And even in Memphis, this will make this will make Elon Musk cringe, I think, when he when Zuckerberg gets done. But at this point, one of the data centers that Zuckerberg wants to build, Hyperion is called. It has the same footprint or a similar footprint of the entire city of Manhattan. just what? What? Yes. And you're talking about power consumption up to maybe more than 5 gigawatts of power. That's enough to run Phoenix and probably Memphis together, maybe Denver, and nobody's batting an eye. It's like, you can't do that. He will single-handedly crash the power grid.
Yeah.
So what are these people going to do at this point? Well, there's help on the way, because energy now, they've all figured out energy is key to making all AI work in the first place. So the race is on to get especially nuclear power. There's a new generation of mini plants. GE's making some. There's a company in Japan making the same thing. Basically, these are the size of a shipping container, like a 40-foot container. They can be buried in the ground. They can run for 10 years on a single charge of fuel, nuclear fuel, and they can provide as much as 1 gigawatt of power. These things could be planted all over the country if they wanted to. And my guess is at this point, we're going to see a bunch of these being planted, especially close to these huge data centers. In the meantime, they're ramping up for natural gas generation, power generation. There's plenty of natural gas in our country. And so energy is going to be the limiting factor at this point. But they could possibly potentially solve that problem by using these mini nuclear reactors now.
Wow. And those will mainly be used for the data centers, correct?
Well, they could be used for anything, but my guess at this point that the data centers are going to claim priority over all the energy in the country at this point. You know, even consider what's your situation in Memphis. If push comes to shove, you know that data center is not going to go lights out. Yeah. I don't care what happens in the area. There's no way that thing could shut down, because it would just completely smoke the whole thing.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It doesn't matter. They're going to have their power even if you don't have yours.
And there's a trend. I mean, there's more. There's another one being built right now in West Memphis, which is luckily on the other side of the bridge from the Mississippi, so it's not on the same power as us here. But I could see more and more coming over. I mean, it seems to be a trend for these companies to come build over here. I guess because we have cheaper cost of real estate and land, and
maybe it's hard to say at this point why they pick these locations. Phoenix and Mesa and Chandler and Scottsdale, these areas, we don't have a lot of water and we don't have a lot of excess energy. In fact, I think we're probably one of the largest counties in the whole country at this point, like with 22 million people. So why would they want to come here and steal our power or get our power away from us? Well, we do have a nuclear power plant outside of Phoenix to the west, but nevertheless, what's the draw? You can't figure out if it's some logistic thing, or maybe it's just the city councils they can con into doing it in the first place. My guess is there's political stuff going on here.
Yeah.
If they can get the right concessions from a county or a city, they'll relocate there. I think that's a whole bit. That was certainly the case with the X or the Grok plant data center in Memphis for sure. They found that building for one. It was already emptied, right? What was it? I can't remember what.
Electrolux.
Electrolux, exactly. It's a huge building. So it was tailor-made for him. I'm sure they saw that building. Ooh, we could put a nice big data center in there. So then they went to lever the city to give them concessions to do it, because at that point the city had no use for that building anyway. What are you gonna do with it? To tear it down, basically.
Yeah.
So,
and if you're here, a bunch of people do not like it. I mean, I've seen so many videos of people in Memphis, especially downtown Memphis, who think that it's causing problems with people's health and all types of stuff. I don't know if any of that's true, but that's what people are claiming.
It could be. Certainly the sound off of the data centers, like the windmills, they generate a lot of sound. Those sounds are very aggravating to some people, for sure. That could be part of it.
Yeah. Well, we have another story here. We have just about a minute if you want to tease it. Do you want to go to it real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's here, the externalization of the agentic state. And this is Skynet. This is these satellites.
Well, part of it, yeah. The idea of the agentic state at this point, this is a theory that's been brewing for a long time. But now that AI is with us and it can create its own agents to go and do things, right? And this is the concept here, that these agents are going to be able to take over all the processes in society. And they can spawn themselves, and humans can spawn them as well, but they can spawn themselves to do different tasks and, spy on stuff and make decisions for you and that sort of thing. The concept here is basically machines are going to rule over men. This is not good. Any way you look at it, this is not what we want. We do not want machines to rule over men, period.
Yep, and we can already see it happening, and especially on a larger scale in a country like China, where it's happening right now. So, well, we are all out of time. We'll be back on Thursday with a new show. Until then, take care.
God bless.
True beauty isn't applied. It's nourished from within. Bella Grace Elixir, a luxurious, scientifically crafted blend designed to restore radiance, vitality, and strength at a cellular level. At the heart of Bella Grace Elixir lies cat's claw, a powerful herb from the Amazon known for its ability to control inflammation and protect collagen. With Verisol collagen peptides, it goes beyond the surface, stimulating your body's natural collagen production to reduce fine lines, improve skin elasticity, and promote real, visible change.